Stop fighting over the toaster. This is a very old and dirty toaster that honestly is probably in most people's houses and can easily be probably replaced for less than $20. But we are seeing more and more people fighting over this toaster in probates. So stop doing it. Stop fighting for the toaster. Today, I'm going to talk about the best way to distribute personal assets in your estate so that your family doesn't fight over that toaster. Over the last year and a half, and maybe because of what's been happening in the real world, I have seen more and more families fighting over the little stuff. They're not fighting over the big stuff like the house or the bank accounts. They are literally fighting over the personal items in their loved one's home that may or may not even have any actual monetary value. They may have sentimental value, but they don't have any actual monetary value. And I have seen families over the last few years spend thousands, tens of thousands of dollars fighting over the items that are in their loved one's house. Now, I can't tell you about the actual details of some of our probate cases, because remember, these videos are just for educational purposes. And I urge you that if you're going through the probate, to talk to a probate attorney near you or an estate planning attorney near you to guide you through this difficult process of getting through a probate. But I did go back through the last 12 months or so to look at probates where there has been fighting over the toaster. I came up with three numbers or three different cases where they spent in the first one over $4,426 just fighting over the personal items in the house. Another one we didn't spend it, but their attorney fees and costs were over $12,500. Next one, you guys are not going to believe it, over $18,000 in attorney fees and cost fighting over the personal items that were in their loved ones' houses. A regular probate, if everything goes smoothly, depending on where you are, will probably cost between $4,000 and $7,000 or $8,000 to probate your loved one's estate. And again, it depends on where you are. So check with a probate attorney near you to see if they can give you an estimate of how much a probate might cost your family. If we keep in mind that most probates cost between that $4,000 and $8,000 range, what I'm talking about here today, those numbers that I just gave you, those are in addition to that amount. So that probate that cost almost $18,000 to fight over the personal items in the estate, that actually ended up costing the heirs over $25,000 to probate the estate. That, guys, is a ton of money. And that is money that comes out of the heirs' pockets, right? Because those expenses get deducted from the total amount that's in the estate. And that means that if they're gonna fight and they're gonna spend $25,000 on legal fees and court costs and other costs associated with fighting for those personal items, then that is $25,000 less than the heirs are going to be able to split up between them. And that's not even taking into account if one or more of the heirs actually hired their own law firm to defend them. Then they have not only the probate costs, right? The $25,000 in attorney fees and costs to fight over those personal items, but they also have their attorney fees, which could be another $15,000, $18,000. So guys, I'm telling you, stop fighting over the toaster in your loved one's estate. The best way to prevent all of this, well, is to plan ahead. That means that before you even pass away, you talk to your estate planning attorney and you put a plan in place for what you want to happen to your personal items. That way, your heirs are not blowing a huge portion of your estate fighting over the little things. Like I said earlier, people aren't fighting over the big things, like selling the house that might be worth $80,000 or $150,000 or $300,000. They're not fighting over how to split that money up. They're not even fighting over the financial accounts, the bank accounts, the IRAs, the retirement accounts. They know that's going to get split up evenly. They're fighting over the little things. What are the things that you can do to prevent your heirs from spending a ton of money and a ton of time wasted on fighting over personal items? To avoid this fight ahead of time, there are three things that you can ask to work with your estate planning attorney on. The first one is talk to your family. Have a conversation. And I don't know why so many people are afraid to talk to their family about this, but actually talk to your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, whoever it is, about the personal items in your house. You might be surprised to learn that your daughter or your son doesn't want that china, your wedding china, that you've been saving your entire life, or that they don't want your dining room set that you figured would just be passed on to the next generation. So talk to them first and see if they actually want things that you think that they might want, right? And the next thing is ask them, what items do we have in our house that you might want after we pass away? If you have this conversation ahead of time, you're going to avoid those fights because you will have talked to them and ultimately you will have made the decision on who actually gets those items, not leave it to them afterwards to fight over. The second thing to do is make sure when you talk to your estate planning attorney that you have a personal property memorandum as part of your estate plan, and make sure that your revocable living trust and your last will and testament both reference the personal property memorandum. Now, what is a personal property memorandum? Well, it's literally a sheet of paper that says at the very top of it, personal property memorandum. And on it is a paragraph that says that you have a revocable living trust, or you have a last will and testament, or maybe you have both documents, and that in those documents, you reference this document, this personal property memorandum, for a way to distribute personal items around your house. And so that personal property memorandum has several blank lines on it. And you can literally list out grandfather clock. I want grandfather clock to go to Enrique. And you sign and you date it. Dining room set. I want that to go to Sally. And you sign and date that. And you literally go through your house and you make sure that you designate things that are important to you, that you feel will be important to somebody else that you want to give it to, that you list that item and you list who it goes to, you sign it, and you date it. Very important to have as part of your estate plan because it does two things. First, it tells the world who you want to get your personal items, who gets specific personal items. And second, it saves you from having to go back to your estate planning attorney every single time just because you decided to give your grandfather clock to Joseph instead of Enrique. You see what I'm saying? The third thing you need to do with your estate planning attorney regarding your personal items is make a clear plan of what happens to the personal items that you have not designated going to somebody. And that might be you want to have a garage sale. Say, I'm giving away the grandfather clock to this person. I'm giving away the dining room set to this person. I'm giving away my china set to this person. Everything else I want sold at a garage or an estate sale or given to charity, and I don't want my heirs to fight over it. Very important to have explicit instructions on what you want to happen to the items that you're not actually giving away. Now, another thing you could do for personal items is, instead of saying it has to be completely disposed, is maybe give direction to your successor trustee or to your personal representative, your executor of your estate, and tell them to designate a day between like 1 and 4 o'clock where all the heirs can come to the house and pick one item that they want. And if there's more than one item, then maybe you flip a coin. Or maybe you put a bunch of names in a hat and you pick the names out one by one until everybody has picked somebody in the house, something out of the house, and nobody wants anything else out of the house. But have a plan in place for those personal items so that your family won't fight about it afterwards. The bottom line is spend some time talking to your family about this. Spend time talking to your estate planning attorney about this and the best way to proceed and make directions in your revocable living trust or your last will and testament so that there's not a fight later on where your heirs have to hire a probate attorney or maybe several probate attorneys to fight over your personal items, to fight over that toaster. Don't let it happen. Make a plan. Talk to your family. I know I've thrown a lot at you today, so that's why we've prepared our free guide on estate planning. I'll put a link to it in the description below and in the comment section below that so that you can download it and get started in the right direction. And to help you out even more, watch this video up here and this video up here. If you enjoyed this video, then guys, please smash that subscribe button and click on the like button. And also click on that little bell so you'll get notified every time we post a new video. Have a great day and an awesome week. And as always, thanks for watching.